Hello, welcome to my channel. My name's Amanda and I love crafting, shopping, decor and makeovers. Thanks for tuning in. Okay, so today's focus, we're going to look at some more things in the bathroom. Firstly, the toilet. So I made this toilet using a little potted plant base and then some poster board that I cut into a toilet seat lid, and then a Tic Tac box which I covered with white paper, and then a little sequin that I just popped on the top. So that was my first attempt at a toilet for my first dollhouse, and I was pretty pleased with that. I think it looks fairly realistic for a toilet, and it was the right scale for that dollhouse because it was quite a big dollhouse. So, you know, just look around for things that you've got. You could probably even use like an empty yogurt pot, you know, or some other tiny little plastic tub for a base. And then the poster board was handy, but you could even use cardboard, you know, and Tic Tac boxes are great. This was my first sort of vanity unit. I kind of used, I think it's either like toilet roll or I think it was a kitchen towel holder, and I wrapped that jute round it to make the legs, and then just a piece of cardboard. I covered it with some sticky back plastic, and then obviously I put the accessories on, little printable tissue box there, and the toothpaste and toothbrush holder, and then the sink was just a lid off a toiletry. I do use a lot of lids in my dollhouse makes, and I think at a later date I did add a little plug hole to that to make it look a little bit more realistic. Also, on the legs of that unit, I did put a sort of a wooden shelf in so I could put some things on it as well to make it a little bit more useful. So I did a makeover on my dollhouse, and I went a little bit more upscale, geometric, black and white, and I decided to make a new vanity unit, but I did keep the old sink, just got a cardboard box, covered it with black wood effect, and then put a little bit of tile that I think I'd previously used on the floor or the walls as a sort of a marble top. And the toilet I actually kept the same, so I just changed the layout, but actually the toilet still worked. And then in the side of the unit, I put a little toilet roll holder and a little, you know, seat yourself sign and a shelf above the toilet. So I just changed the layout of the toilet, but I didn't make a new toilet. But as I said, I did make a new unit, and I put a little drawing pin in there with a towel the other side, and I used some of the old toiletries and made some new toiletries to go on top. So that just sort of changed the look of the bathroom. And I think I did, at a later date, add a cupboard definition onto that unit, because at that moment it's just all shiny black. But I think I did put a little cupboard door onto it as well. So this is how it looks. So as I say, kept the same toilet, nice and simple. But it's a nice, easy way to make a toilet. And as I say, Tic Tac boxes are great. Or you can even, if you don't have a Tic Tac box, you can just make a little box using a piece of white card and just fold it into a net shape. So toilets are really easy for your dollhouse. And there you can see the unit in a bit more detail, the marble top and the wood effect base, and the black goes with the shower, you see. And then, as I say, I will add a little bit of definition onto that. I stuck a little paper clip into the side, which I thought was quite a good idea, and then you know, just made a hole, just fashioned it into toilet roll holder, and then that goes at the side by the toilet, so it's where it would be handy, and it just makes it less taking up rooms. I think in the first dollhouse I had like a toilet roll holder sort of with several toilet rolls on it, so that was quite a nice little way of putting the toilet roll on. And then, as I said before, the other side a towel, and that is just a drawing pin, but it looks like a sort of a hook that you would hang it on, and it matches the bottoms of that little shelf there that I had in the shower. So that was, I think, actually a little bit big, but you know, at the time I was pretty pleased with it. I think it was a step up from the first one that was the jute and the card, and as I say, it looks pretty good, looks quite realistic. And then I did keep the same sink, just sat it on top, so that was easy as well, because obviously sometimes you can cut a sink shape and sort of put it down into it. But I do think for the bathroom, a sink that sits on top is quite modern, and quite a good idea. This was just a little bottle that I turned into a sort of a hand soap. I think it's nice to make little accessories. It makes your rooms look more realistic. Those are just actually pieces of quilling, rolled up bits of paper they put on the top to make it look like a soap dispenser, and wrap some washi tape around it to give it some shape. So this was the thing. As you can see now, it looks more realistic as it has a plug hole in it, and it's just 2 beads and some foil wrapped into a tap shape. So again, super easy to do. And that was just a lid off a moisturising cream, I think. And then the tissues, that was just a printable that I just put together, and I covered it in sellotape just to keep it sturdy. And that was a little craft jar that had some glitter in, and I just put some rolled up bits of paper in to make it look like cotton balls. Then I got myself a Dollhouse kit house, and this gave me some new insight into my bathroom. So this was just literally 3 pieces of wood, a rectangle one and 2 smaller sides, just glued them together to get the shape of a unit. And then with the kit, it comes all the different bits of things that you can cut out and stick on. So that's the wood effect for the front side of it. So you just put that over the wood. It's even got the line on it ready to show the 2 cupboards. So it's so simple. But you can do this really easily. Don't even have to use wood. You can do this with cardboard and then cover it with some wood effect paper. So it's a really simple idea. And then I just super glued a top on. And I think, again, that was a piece of wood that came with it, a piece of white wood. But again, if you haven't got white wood, poster board would work, or even lots of pieces of card put together, and then just put a little bit of edging around it. So that was a really cute idea. And then just glued on some buttons for the door handles. So I thought that was a great idea, and that's what I like about kits, because they give you ideas which you can then apply to your next makes. So when I then did a renovation in my dollhouse, in my new dollhouse, I kind of pinched this idea. So I will show you how all that turns out, perhaps next week, as I don't like my videos to be too long. So this was the Dollhouse kit, and you just glued it onto the wall. So that was another idea I thought. So you don't have to have a big cardboard box taking up the room. It can be an on-the-wall unit. And then this kit came with lots of bits and pieces that you had to glue together, again, to make that sort of look of a tap. And then it did come with this bowl, so that was a little bit easier. But then, of course, like I say, I like to use lids that I have. But I mean, that kind of looks, you could get a shell, couldn't you, that looks, like that, or any sort of like lid would look like that, and then you just glue it on the top of there, or just sit it on if you don't want to glue it on. The toilet was a little bit of a cheat in that kit as well, because that came ready-made, but I was very impressed with the vanity unit. And then you can see the mirror on there as well. It was just a piece of mirrored card, so if you don't have a compact, you can always just create the impression of a mirror. And the towel on the wall as well was another good idea. So definitely found that kit inspiring, and I will show you next week how it inspired me when I got my new dollhouse. And I think I've got another couple of bathroom bits and pieces to show you, and a renovation. So come back next week to see part 2 of the bathroom furniture video. So as always, thank you very much for watching. If you have subscribed, thank you very much. If you haven't, please consider doing so. Give me a like, drop me a comment, because I do love to hear from you. So until next week, take care. Bye bye.